Rick and Marty discover the treasure after months of drilling and scouring. On this island, the crew has been searching for the so-called treasure, and there appears to be a breakthrough. Marty, Lagina, and Rick have arrived at the money pit to assess the progress of the garden shaft probe drilling operation. After approximately 3 inches of drilling, they attained the desired depth. When they reached a depth of approximately 93 feet, they believed they had arrived at the precise location, absolutely perfect in every way. After reaching what is believed to be the approximate depth of the tunnel that leads directly west into the potential treasure zone, the most pressing questions now are whether or not they will be able to find the structure and whether or not they will be able to investigate what it may contain. They believed it was the last day on Earth. In addition, there was absolutely no uncertainty about it. They had to pack up their possessions because they would only be actively searching for approximately half a day. They decided to disassemble the parts and investigate further, today at the very least before sunset. They removed the rods and began cleaning out the file, while simultaneously placing everything in a container and evaluating the situation to determine what was visible. Oak Island most assuredly does not readily divulge her secrets. They were anxious to collect any and all information they could find and, if possible, determine what the piece of wood was that was buried at the bottom of the garden shaft. After drawing a blank, a team member was confident that he had struck wood on the northern side of the board, despite drawing a blank previously. He was able to access the tunnel despite not being directly struck by the bullet. Nevertheless, he was not directly struck by the gunfire. Then, they proposed that they could use it to project the tunnel's line if they simply approached it from the side. This occurred after they realized it was feasible. They had not yet conducted a bottom inspection to determine the precise location of the tunnel at this point. After donning their protective gear, they descended the shaft. Even if they had contemplated it, they never in their wildest imaginings could have predicted that this moment would occur. After so much time, it was almost as if they were reliving a childhood fantasy. Now, in an effort to excavate these treasures, they are venturing into the money pit's depths, putting themselves in the same predicament as those who have come before them for literally hundreds of years. Despite the fact that time is running out, this problem will not be resolved in the immediate future. It is likely that whatever was intended to be discovered in this shaft was set there deliberately to facilitate its discovery. At this time, they believed that utilizing a metal detector would be advantageous in some manner. They only had a small amount of time left, so they decided to ask an experienced team member to use metal detecting equipment and investigate the cavity to see what they could find. Finally, it appears that they may be getting closer to finding the actual treasure. The landscape gave the appearance of being from the Middle Ages. During the reign of the Templars, it was almost as if they were imprisoned in a confinement within a fortress. They were still attempting to determine what was in the hole, but they had a suspicion that it contained a large number of modern nails and wire. They were extremely fortunate to have the CTX 3030, which not only allowed them to discover this but also featured all the bells and sirens associated with distinguishing features. They made immediate contact with something, but it was not a target composed of non-ferrous materials. They speculated it could be gold, silver, or even copper, but could not be certain. Is it conceivable that they discovered traces of the fabled treasure that was supposedly buried on Oak Island's murky soil? The very bottom of the garden shaft, only a few feet below the surface of the ground. It's also conceivable that the signals are being sent through what is believed to be a tube that runs west towards the infant blob and is approximately 10 feet below the surface. It is a bittersweet moment because Dumas does not have the legal permits to extend the shaft deeper at this time of year, and they cannot risk the future of the project or the safety of their team by attempting to breach the bottom of the shaft to explore what could be dangerously unstable ground below the level of elation when they describe a non-ferrous hit. However, the discovery of a non-ferrous strike indicates the presence of a non-ferrous metal, which is cause for celebration. Dumas does not have the legal permissions to extend them. During final excavation has been an exciting journey for those who appreciate witnessing the discovery of historical artifacts. The team had been anxiously awaiting progress in the excavation of the Money Pit region in the hopes of discovering the elusive treasure that has fascinated generations. Every time they dug, They awaited the next scoop or grasp with bated breath, hoping it would be the breakthrough they had been seeking. As they dug deeper, the team discovered scattered fragments of wood that formed a crucial historical puzzle. Among the dispersed remains, they discovered a large and impressive iron object that appeared to be from a bygone era, perhaps as far back as the 1700s. This fortunate discovery provided a glimmer of optimism, indicating that they were moving closer to their ultimate objective, the legendary money pit. However, their journey to unveil the mysteries concealed beneath the surface of the earth took an unexpected turn. At the approximate 130-foot depth of the B4C shaft, just as they were gaining momentum, they were confronted with a shocking discovery: a formidable bedrock formation impeding their progress. This geological impediment sent shockwaves throughout the team, halting their progress and plunging them into a domain of uncertainty. The team's efforts uncovered evidence of a concealed treasure despite encountering obstacles. They dug 5 enormous shafts over the course of several months and discovered indications of its existence. As they were on the verge of disclosing a long-held secret, these discoveries inspired renewed optimism. However, pursuing the money pit had been an arduous and challenging endeavor for centuries. The quest was fraught with obstacles that required unwavering resolve and originality. Motivated by the possibility of acquiring a priceless treasure that had eluded countless others, the team descended into the money pit in search of the enigmatic treasure. The crew began a difficult mission with the knowledge that obstacles lay ahead. They actively sought out new technologies and strategies to surmount the obstacles. They pursued the treasure with great determination, expecting that their efforts would pay off. However, their journey was not solely motivated by prosperity. Oak Island's search for the money pit had a deeper significance. The exploration was motivated by a desire to uncover the mysterious mysteries that had captivated people for centuries. With each stage, the team delved deeper into Oak Island's complexities, driven by an insatiable desire to uncover its hidden truths. The team's unwavering dedication to unraveling Oak Island's mysteries was demonstrated by their unflinching pursuit. Their unyielding determination and tenacity accentuated the noble pursuit of knowledge and discovery, resulting in an enduring tale that will forever be associated with human curiosity. Oak Island has been an enigma for centuries, attracting the attention of treasure hunters, historians, and conspiracy theorists. Shaft further at this time of the year, so the event is both thrilling and disappointing. At this time of year, the shaft can no longer be extended. It is extremely disheartening to realize that this objective cannot be achieved. Both the glacial tumulus system and the series of water-filled anhydrite holes that lie beneath Oak Island may be responsible for the periodic inundation of the pit. Oak Island is situated on top of a glacially formed tumulus system. Oak Island consists of a collection of glacial tumuli. This type of limestone is extremely susceptible to dissolution in the presence of water. Consequently, this process can result in the formation of caverns and other natural cavities. Near the excavation pit, bedrock may be encountered at depths spanning from 38 to 45 meters, 125 to 148 feet. People have been seeking for treasures and artifacts since the 18th century, and have made numerous attempts to do so. The Holy Grail, Shakespearean manuscripts, pirate treasure, and the Ark of the Covenant are examples of the types of artifacts that have been suggested to be located on the island. In addition to the Holy Cross and the Holy Spire, it has been hypothesized that other objects exist on the island. According to a widely held theory, the Holy Grail and the Ark of the Covenant were both interred on the island by the Knights Templar. Several items that were initially discovered on the island have progressively made their way to the island's surface over the years. Several of these objects have been subjected to carbon dating, and the results indicate that their ages span from the hundreds to the thousands of years. Enjoying this video so far? Have you yet subscribed? Be sure to do this and enable post notifications to be notified when the next discovery video becomes available. The Lagena brothers would almost certainly receive the preponderance of the wealth. The first piece of information we possess is that the treasure trove license encompasses the current Oak Island search being conducted by the Lagena brothers. This government regulation stipulates that licensed treasure hunters are permitted to legally retain 90% of any money they on Lot 8, the team made the decision to acquire additional excavation licenses and consult with experts. The discovery raises questions regarding its provenance and any connections it might have to other local findings. The scholars are intrigued by these unique items and believe that this particular area may hold some special significance. A large piece of iron with a beveled edge is discovered by the Oak Island crew. It may be a broken piece of the ancient adze, a type of cutting tool. This result is noteworthy because it agrees with a recent magnetometry research conducted by the team, which found a significant metallic anomaly in the same area, the same site where the survey was done. Our interest in further investigation of that area is piqued by the discovery of this tool in a place that was previously believed to be uninhabited. The team plans to first obtain a permit to excavate before speaking with various experts in order to determine the significance of this discovery. The secrets surrounding Oak Island keep getting more complicated as the show follows the journey of full-time treasure hunters through each new season. However, you might get the same results with your own gear. Their discoveries with metal detectors open up hitherto unfathomable vistas for historical inquiry. Always make sure to get permission before hunting anywhere, whether it's on someone else's land or a public space. The team of The Curse of Oak Island found some scientific proof that suggests it's possible the money pit holds a sizable amount of silver. They also found a patch of cement that had traces of gold and other metals, which made them think that the most rare metal in the world, osmium, would be buried somewhere in the ethereal depths of Oak Island. There is an island called Oak Island in the Canadian province of Nova Scotia. The two brothers Marty and Lagena have, for all intents and purposes, dedicated their entire lives to solving Oak Island's enigma and learning its closely guarded secrets, while harboring the hope of unearthing hidden gold on the island. Despite the fact that they had previously spent many years trying very hard to uncover the island's secrets, but making very little headway in their attempts, it appears that their most recent treasure hunting expedition has really taken a fruitful turn. On Oak Island, the Lagina brothers have made a number of important discoveries recently. Some claim that these discoveries have made it possible to access the hidden wealth on Oak Island. This archaeological gem was found thanks to the use of ground-penetrating radar. It was initially thought to be a crossbow bolt, but a specialist in ancient antiquities thinks it might have been a javelin, a type of weapon used by the Romans more than 2,000 years ago. The team finds a metal money pit took place in 1803 under the leadership of a group of investors known as the Onslow Company. They were given their own money pit. The excavations had to be terminated because the parties' attempts to descend to the pit's floor were unsuccessful. The following century saw a variety of groups try to solve the island's riddles, but due to the enormous difficulties they encountered, none of them were successful. The hole was flooded, which was the most significant of these, and made additional excavation unsafe and difficult. The importance of this aspect was the greatest of all. Additionally, the pit was wired with a number of devices that, when activated, would cause the pit to fill with water and keep anybody from discovering the treasure. Despite these barriers, the excavations persisted, and the Oak Island Treasure Company was founded in 1861. The flooding that was taking place in the pit prevented this specific squad's attempts from progressing past a depth of 90 feet. As a result of the bankruptcy of the Oak Island Treasure Company in 1909, the excavations were abruptly ended at that time. Since then, a number of additional teams have tried to locate the riches that is hidden on Oak Island, but the enigma of the money pit has remained a secret. The discovery of the money pit and the initial excavations on the island both had a significant impact on the evolution of the island's history, as well as the ongoing search for treasure there. Even with the challenges and roadblocks that were encountered, this is true. Despite the various challenges and disappointments that have been encountered over the centuries-long search for riches on Oak Island, the mystery surrounding the island's location continues to fascinate people. The quest to unravel the mystery surrounding the island has recently been taken on by a number of new entities. In 2010, the Oak Island Tourism Society was founded as a group dedicated to preserving the island's history and encouraging tourism. The most notable change to have taken place in recent years is this one. The Oak Island Archaeological Society has played an important role in raising public knowledge of Oak Island and the treasure hunt, in addition to participating actively in several archaeological digs on the island. Get on the mailing list right away to learn about fresh information and surprising findings about Oak Island. The Lagena brothers will probably receive the lion's share of the treasure, it appears. First of all, the Lagena brothers' ongoing search of Oak Island is authorized by the Treasure Trove license. Licensed treasure hunters are allowed to legally keep 90% of any wealth they uncover, according to a government rule. Marty goes on to suggest that it is very likely that multiple claimants would surface and argue that they had a right to the treasure's contents if a sizable treasure were found on Oak Island. These claimants may rely on some element of their residence, their ancestry, or another factor to support their claims. There will undoubtedly be a lot of people trying to get their hands on at least some of the fabled riches, but it is impossible to say who, if anyone, will be successful. The Lagena brothers and the government would both have legitimate rights over at least some share of the treasure, making them the obvious choice for at least two recipients. However, it is impossible to predict if a situation like this would ever happen in The Curse of Oak Island. Team of researchers are shocked by my shocking revelation. For additional information, watch the video after this one. Object that appears to be what they have been looking for since the first episode of the show in the second episode of the 9th season. Additional inspection reveals that the piece only contains a modest amount of gold in its entirety. The secrets surrounding Oak Island keep getting more complicated as the show follows the journey of full-time treasure hunters through each new season. However, you might get the same results with your own gear. Their discoveries with metal detectors open up hitherto unfathomable vistas for historical inquiry. Always make sure to get permission before hunting anywhere, whether it's on someone else's land or a public space. As the team continued their journey through Portugal, they turned their attention to the country and the Templar Knights, while looking for old structures and researching relics that might be connected to Oak Island. Together with Oak Island theorist Corjan Mall and a few local historians, Rick and Alex Lagena, Doug Crowell, and Peter Fornetti visited a number of ancient sites in Portugal. They were led to 3 distinct locations, each of which displayed mounting proof that Oak Island's history is connected in some way to that of Portugal and the Templars. In Tomar, Portugal, there is a church and Templar fortress called Convento de Cristo. It was built in the 12th century. To start their investigation, the group was brought there. Corjan was particularly intrigued by the aqueduct's drainage system, which he thought had served as inspiration for whoever created the Smith's Cove finger drains. The aqueduct drainage system was what captivated Corjan the most out of all the amazing elements that were packed into this massive structure. This link might have seemed a little tenuous, but Corjan had more details. The original church gate, now faded, bore an engraving of a cross surrounded by 4 dots. The sign found on the HO stone on Oak Island had an engraving that matched this one exactly. The HO stone was a fragment of a rock discovered on Oak Island. The boulder is thought to have formerly indicated the location of a treasure, but an accident in 1921 reportedly destroyed it. The lads also discovered another O-shaped sign with a dot in the middle, which is also depicted on the HO stone during the previous week. The group then traveled to a military history museum in Lisbon. They had replicas of the 2 little cannonballs that had been found on Oak Island, and they intended to use the museum's armory to see if they could match the cannonballs to one of the cannons there. The fact that 2 museum employees immediately confirmed that the 2 cannonballs were of Portuguese origin wasn't a surprise to the boys, because they had already heard from a chemist in a previous episode that the cannonball's composition indicated a Portuguese origin. Alex loaded the cannon with the ball once the guys had discovered the right kind of cannon in order to make sure they had the right kind of weapon. The cannon, which was first used in the 14th or 15th century, was often mounted on a ship's deck. The experts at the museum, however, claimed that the gun could be easily taken out of the ship and brought to an island. Have you already subscribed? Do this right away to learn more exciting updates on fresh discoveries made on Oak Island. Given the ongoing instability on the global stage that has existed ever since the New World was discovered, it should not be shocking that the mysterious Oak Island has come to represent a secret trove of royal treasures. Over time, Oak Island has come to represent a secret hoard of royal treasures. Two of the most convincing responses in this area come from the French and British militaries, both of which are supportive. The British's hostile acts against the French garrison at Fort Louisbourg are the defining element in this interpretation. It's thought that at some point during either of the French and Indian War or the 7 Years' War, the French treasure that had been housed in the bastion during those wars was transferred to the sophisticated vault on Oak Island. Two very different viewpoints can be taken while examining this line of thinking. Some believe that at some time during the 6-week siege in 1758, the French were able to smuggle all of their treasures past the British boats that were invading and deposit them in the fittingly named Money Pit, which was located within Fort Louisbourg. Some individuals think that the British attack on Fort Louisbourg in 1758, which was successful, served as the catalyst for the ultimate building of the Money Pit, which served as a storage facility. This story holds that the British Army was given the order to painstakingly dismantle the devastated French bastion, pillage its treasures, and bury them beneath an island off the coast of Nova Scotia. You won't believe the recent astounding scientific discovery. To learn more, see the video after this one.